Mr. President.
The Republican leader.
I apologize to my colleagues for interrupting their conversation, and hopefully it can continue upon the completion of my remarks, and I may well want to join it. Mr. President, the American people have seen what Democrats in Congress plan to do with seniors' health care. They've looked on in disbelief as almost every Democrat in the Senate voted again and again and again to slash Medicare. Now they're watching in disbelief as Democrats float the idea of herding millions more into this nearly bankrupt program as part of a backroom deal to force their plan for health care on the American people by Christmas. Every day, it seems, we hear new revelations about secret conference room deliberations where Democrats are frantically working to get their 60 votes by Christmas. And every day we hear about some new idea they've come up with for creating a government plan by another name. This week's version would have the Office of Personnel Management running the program, an idea that was shot down almost as soon as it was announced by the former OPM director who said it couldn't be done. This is what he said: "I flat out think that OPM doesn't have the capacity to do this type of role." This is precisely the kind of approach Americans are tired of in Washington. And this is precisely the kind of health care plan Americans did not want. Seniors thought they could expect lower costs. What they're getting instead is an assault on their Medicare. Small business owners thought they could expect lower costs. What they're getting instead are higher taxes, stiff fines, and costly mandates. Working Americans thought they'd get more efficiency, less fraud, cheaper rates. What they're getting instead are new bureaucracies and higher costs. Business leaders from across the country enthusiastically support the idea of health care reform. They know better than anyone that costs are out of control and that something needs to be done. But they've read the bill Democrats in Congress have come up with, and they're telling us, this isn't it. This isn't it, they're saying. And not only won't this bill solve the problem, they say, it makes existing problems actually worse. The Vice President of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce was here yesterday. He said there is a desperate need for reform, a reform that bends the cost curve down. He said that, unfortunately, this bill fails the test. He said this bill will only lead businesses to lower wages, decrease working hours, reduce hiring, and cut jobs. He said it adds to the deficit, it adds to the debt, it includes massive new spending programs and entitlements, and incredibly, as I've noted, it also borrows from existing entitlement programs that are already in trouble. Businesses look at this bill and they see $500 billion in new taxes, as many as 10 million employees at risk of losing coverage, crushing new mandates. Mr. President, this is not reform. This bill doesn't solve our problems, it spreads them. That's why seniors don't like this bill. That's why job creators don't like this bill. And that's why public opinion has dramatically shifted against this bill. Americans want reform, but this is not the one they asked for. This bill is fundamentally flawed and it can't be fixed. No way to fix this bill. Americans want us to stop, they want us to start over, and they want us to get it right. Democrats should stop talking at the American people and start listening to them. Now, Republicans are prepared to provide a platform for the debate as long as it takes. As long as it takes. The majority leader said we'd be working every weekend. We take him at his word. We expect to be here this weekend, and we look forward to it. Republicans are convinced there's nothing more important we could do than to stop this bill and start over with the kind of step-by-step reforms Americans really want. We have amendments. We want votes. We've been waiting since Tuesday to have more votes. We're eager to continue the debate. And my good friend, the majority leader, said when we started the debate on November 30th, this is what he said: debating and voting late at night, it definitely means the next weekends, plural, we'll be working. I have events I'll have to postpone, some I'll have to cancel. There's not an issue more important than finishing this legislation. I know people have things they want to do back in their states, and rightfully so. I know people have fundraisers because they're running for re-election. I know there are other important things people have to do, but nothing could be more important than this. And we notified everybody prior to the break that we'd be working weekends. Now, we took the majority leader at his word when we started this debate on November 30th that we'd be working weekends. Actually, is a week later, this past Monday of this week, he said, it appears we certainly will be here this weekend again. Now, my members understood that we would be here on the weekends. We don't think there's anything more important we can do. And we're a little bit upset, maybe more than a little bit, that we were not able to vote on an amendment yesterday. We've been prepared to vote here for several days. There are amendments that have been offered that we can't seem to get a vote on. The American people are expecting us to vote on this bill. And we're here and prepared to do it and would like to get started voting on amendments today.
Mr. Leader, if I might ask to the
Senator from New Hampshire.
On that last point, it does seem that there's a slowdown occurring on amendments. And as I understand it, we have 4 or 5 very substantive amendments dealing with taxes, dealing with employer mandate, that we're ready to go to and ready to vote on. Is that not correct?
I'd say to my friend from New Hampshire, that's absolutely the case. We waited around all day to get a vote on the Crapo amendment, the senator from Idaho. We were told there would be a side-by-side, and it mysteriously has not yet appeared. But we are here, ready to work. We share the view of the majority leader that this is an extremely important issue, and we want to vote.
Well, Mr. Leader, I would hope that at some point today that maybe we should propound a unanimous consent request setting those 4 items up for votes on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, I think that's a good idea, and of course, we'd prefer to vote today. We're going to be voting Saturday and Sunday
tomorrow?
Too.
Today?
Yeah. But Saturday? I think the sooner the better. The American people are actually expecting us. I mean, they thought we were here voting and debating amendments on this bill, and we're going to continue to press forward and try to get that done. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
The Senator from North Dakota.